Good evening, dear scientists of this great nation. You are most welcome to today's ProDev hour. Today is the 16th of January, 2025. We are ready to be pushing on. Let us pray. In the name of God, the Father, the Son, and Holy Spirit, God, we thank you for this evening. We thank you for the special program before us. We pray that, Lord, you will send us your guiding angels to guide us through this discussion. We pray for the presenter of today, and we pray that all of us will remain in sound mind till the end of the program. I pray, believing and trusting you have heard us. Amen.
Amen.
Members, you're most welcome to today's discussion. We are privileged this evening to have a senior person in the science field, remembering that we have different programs under science. We have SESEMAT program, which has been running on. Many of our regions have already had their insight trainings. In the insight trainings, we have had the different fields. We were trying to support the lower secondary curriculum, but also during the training, we had something small touching on project. We have in the house today a senior person, very experienced, from SESEMAT at Ministry of Education and Sports. We have Mr. Namisi Geoffrey, who is a national SESEMAT trainer of chemistry. I am privileged to welcome him to today, coming to handle the topic project work and innovations for teachers in Uganda. And briefly, I want to remind the scientists, teachers who are here, that project work, innovations, the nation is expecting a lot from us, and is the reason why today we have chosen that we come and we have some feel on project and innovations. Bearing in mind that as Uganda Professional Science Teachers Union, we already have a program on innovations, which is kicking off soon. And therefore, in this program, we prepare the teachers to prepare quality innovations and additions at different levels. I believe and trust that many will join us in today's discussion. And I take this opportunity at this time, therefore, to usher in Mr. Namisi Geoffrey, who will take us in the next hour. Mr. Namisi, you're most welcome to Uganda Professional Science Union, which is the union for you people of SESEMAT supporting the innovations we have as scientists in this nation. You are welcome to give us your presentation this evening. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much, moderator, Madam Betty Auma, for this great opportunity to share with the scientists of this country, Uganda, and the world over. I am so privileged that UPSTO has thought of this opportunity of us as scientists having an opportunity to share the ideas and have a feel of what we do as scientists and as a country. Friends, I am by the name Namisi Geoffrey, and I would like to say I'm working with the Ministry of Education and Sports as a national trainer, chemistry department. As a country, we realize that it is very critical that we have to share these issues of projects and innovation. Of course, originally, some people were thinking it is only O-level where CBC is actually taking root, and therefore issues of projects, issues of activity of integration are for ordinary level. However, I must inform members that now it is an issue of the whole country. For as long as you teach in Uganda, projects are part, because we realize that as the government, as NRM, as the president, we feel that the country can't go anywhere unless we go scientific, we go innovative, we go creativity, and we go projects. through projects that the country can change its image, the country can industrialize, and therefore the economy can change. So for that reason, this evening I'm privileged that UPSTO has invited me here to give a presentation on project work and innovation for our teachers in the country. Friends, it is critical for those who are around that we start because time is never on our side. Thank you. So this evening, we shall start by just having a feel of what a project is or project work is before we can do any other discussions and sharing. When we talk of project work, friends, we refer to a teaching and learning approach that involves the students working on real world problems or challenges to develop skills, knowledge, and attitudes. Why do we need projects? We realize that it is through projects that children can develop critical thinking. You and me will agree that when we teach theoretically, we don't see children have critical thinking in them. We don't see creativity coming out, neither do we see problem solving being addressed. And so we feel that when we use project work and innovation, then we shall have our children to think without the box, and they will be able to address some of the things. But also, we find that project work encourages collaboration, communication, and teamwork. Remember, when you are doing a project, in most cases, you can't do it alone. You will need to consult from people. As you consult, you are communicating, and therefore you are improving the skills. But also you will work with others. Collaboration will be promoted among these learners, and teamwork, which in most cases can't come out when we go using our approach of talk and chalk. The third thing that I feel is critical for us to have a focus on as a way is it prepares students for the real world challenges and the careers. Friends, you know that the world is full of challenges, and for us to address challenges, we need to start right from class, that we see the society we live in, we identify the challenges, and we integrate those challenges and problems into the curriculum that we are giving the children. So through that, they'll be able to think, how do we address this? Or else we lose a point because we shall be focusing on passing exams, and then at the end of it all, the children we shall have may never be able to solve the challenges that they will face in life. And lastly, I feel development of curiosity and imagination becomes part of the learner, because at that level, it means whatever a learner will meet across, be it a historian, be it a geographer, be it a scientist, chemistry, whatever you see, it draws your concern. And once you draw it draws your concern, it means you go into investigating and try to see what happens there. So I feel that that area is good enough for us to encourage our learners to do projects, not only for the purpose of exams, friends, but also for purposes of general lifelong learning of the learner. We may move forward. Yeah, so as I have elaborated about why we need this work here, why we need projects and innovation, I know all of us in our different capacities as teachers, we are trying our best to do projects. We are trying our best to give children tasks, and we are trying our best to give children assignments, coursework, and so on. However, at this moment, I need to highlight a field of a performance task and a project, or sometimes we call them experiments in our classes. And these experiments, of course, have procedure. So performance tasks you'll find that these ones are having a very short duration in terms of performance. So you find some of us are giving children a performance task and we call it a project. Or children read the textbook, they read through a certain procedure, they perform it in 30 minutes and they say, yes, that is my project. However, we are saying that project should be slightly longer. Fine, we encourage that you can read as many experiments as possible to have a feel of how you go about. But a project goes beyond just a mere experiment that you have extracted from a book. Where do we see this coming out? When you look at the science fairs that we receive sometimes, some of the children, yes, they try innovation, they try projects, but they pick directly textbook experiments. And these can be done in less than an hour or in 1 hour. And eventually that does not become a project. Because we want to see which procedures do you go through, which problem is it addressing, how did you find out the problem, and what is the justification of the problem that you have identified. Secondly, when we look at a performance test or an experiment or a condition that has been given to the learners to follow, you find that this focuses on a single subject. Say, for example, in chemistry, we look at making soap. We have seen so many of them produce detergents and so on. So if it is a performance task, you will find that in most cases, it focuses on one subject. But for projects, they are interdisciplinary. You find so many subjects, they cut across so many subjects. You find the English is there, you find the ICT comes in, and then mathematics in terms of computation is, and the ICT proficiency. So that is one difference also we have to bear in mind. The other one is that the performance task actually is more or less structured, that it has a known procedure. It is written, it is established. When we come to the project, it is open-ended. You can change the procedure when you find that the results are not coming out the way you would wish. If you interact with the teacher who is working as your supervisor, you find maybe it is not flowing, you can change the direction. And therefore, for it is more or less open. The other issue, which is very critical, is that you'll find that when it comes to the performance task, it is not authentic in terms of the person who has done it. Because you have picked work which is in the textbook, eventually you cannot hold it as an individual who is for it, but also it does not focus on the problem which is in the environment, which is within the society. So when it comes to the project, it is actually focused on a real life issue or a problem. Somebody goes into the society, looks at the society, identifies a problem and says, yes, I can solve this problem using the knowledge I have acquired in my subject, whatever subject, it can be physics, chemistry, biology, mention it, or geography, CRE, and so on. Friends, lastly, we find that performance tasks may have the audience as the teacher. That you produce the work, the teacher sees it and is able to assess it. And when it comes to the projects, we find that students are actually the ones in charge. It is directed by the students, and the student is the one who informs even the teacher on what he or she has done. And the teacher's role would be to facilitate, to guide, and then to give questions in order for information to come out that will be documented, friends. May we proceed? So at this moment, friends, I have shared about what a performance task is and what a project is in our understanding of the lower secondary curriculum. I would wish to call upon members present on this sharing this evening to give us some examples of the projects that they have done in as far as the new lower secondary curriculum is concerned. Of course, we know that the first cohort SAT exams and we produced these children after doing some projects. So kindly share with us very quickly on some of the examples that you have had. You can share by writing in the chats so that we are able to get those examples for this evening discussion. Thank you, moderator. You can raise a hand, please, or write in the chat. Those who are present, please share your experience, the examples of the projects that you have looked at with your learners for the benefit of those who are attending.
I encourage members to raise up their hands. Just raise up your hand if you're ready. You'll be picked to share. There's some of us who did projects and we would like to share so that we get a feel of what we are doing there. Members, you're most welcome. You raise up your hand and you're unmuted to.
Yes, hello?
Yes, please.
Hey,
Mr.
Betty.
Lima. Yes, Mr. Lima.
This is Kizito.
Oh, Mr. Lima raised up his hand. It's okay. Kizito, you're most welcome to share. You're welcome, please.
Thank you. I want to welcome everybody to this program as the Secretary Education Committee, Uganda Professional Science Teachers Union. We are privileged to have our national trainer for chemistry, Mr. Geoffrey Namisi. I want to say this has been a timely program that we had to bring in a very senior person to help our learners. Now, Geoffrey Namisi.
Yes, sir.
I had a concern, only a very small concern, you to have to share with the mostly teachers.
Yes.
We have seen in a private school, some of us have students in private schools, and people are paying a lot of money for projects. Yes. But when these students come home, they say we do group projects, but now they don't understand what a group project is. Maybe we would highlight for members this evening what a group project is, because most of the members in the group do not know the project they're doing. I've cited especially private schools that are charging learners money for project, both at O and A level. Thank you, sir. If you could highlight how can this project be done, even with a minimal cost, not a condition. Before a student pays the money, that one is not enrolled for project. And yet the student is supposed to start from the project and cost it, and then could now be shared with the administration and then the learner, which would in turn reach the parent. Thank you. Good evening, Senior Geoffrey.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kizito. I will give Geoffrey time to talk about that. He had requested us to give examples of projects that we have at our different schools. Your question has come timely, I admit, and he's going to talk about that. What I'm seeing here is some people have written, my project was about, this is Ivan, my project was about water purification. Then someone, Techno, come on. Please, I've always requested that you write your name so that we are able to recognize you. This one says at my school, we had a project regarding vegetable growing. Then another one is saying mine was about making a fan using the mortar. These are 3 projects. Then another one, this is Momoza Joseph. Joseph is saying our students managed to make dustbins out of bottles. These are some of the projects. Mr. Corey Leonard made a fan using the mortar. These are examples that has been given here. I don't know if Mr. Lima Edward, you had your hand up. You're most welcome to share the project you had at your school. Mr. Loima, you're welcome. Mr. Loima, are you still there?
I think that was the
Okay, Geoffrey, you're most welcome back to using those few projects.
All right. Thank you so much, Madam. Now, friends, you realize that yes, it is true. We have some projects that teachers have established from the learners. Thank you, our technical man. We had a hiccup a bit. However, I was saying that as science teachers, you realize that yes, projects are very critical. However, sometimes we have had experiments being given by these learners in terms of projects. But now that we have discussed through seeing the performance statistics vis-a-vis the project, we can be able to update and help these learners now upgrade these performance tasks into projects, especially stemming from the problem that the project was addressing. Of course, everything here begins with a problem. And that is the reason we are saying even our teaching should shift from teaching theoretically, but using problem-based approach and inquiry. Because at this level, inquiry will give you a problem in order to identify the solution. Problem solving will give you a problem in order to get into the solution. And so is the projects. We shall have a problem that we shall need to solve, and that's why we need a justification for that. May we share some of these examples that I identified also from other schools? Yes. On the screen, friends, we have some few projects that we identified from some of the schools. Like the first one also talks about filtration, and this one was picked from Rubongi Army School that is in Tororo. Then we also have making of a water tank using used bottles, and this one was picked from Teso College Alloyd. These are some of the examples, friends. And you realize that in most of our schools, there's a lot of water being wasted, but we cannot tap it, and then we say national water bills are high. We can use some of the materials which litter the compound in order to make some tanks. Yes, can we move on? Yes, that one also, we are looking at bags which are being made by students of Rubongi Army, Army SS in Tororo. And then we also have preparation of pavers, as seen in that picture where we use plastics, burn, and then mix with sand in order to produce pavers. As if that is not enough, we also have a video that I would wish the administrator to share with us, showing us one.
You're most welcome. My name is Naikoba Letitia, a student of Samiga Memorial College, and at this school, we learn many subjects, including math. And in math, we have many topics. We've learned about measurements, which we've used to make products like these books, the graph papers, and also the covers. For example, these books have a specific length and width, and even the breadth also matters in selling them. For example, you have the 4-quire, the 3-quire, and even these extra large ones, which are also sold at all different prices. In math, we've learned about also measurements. For example, if we're knitting these books, we have a specific length that we take while sewing these books. For the materials, we buy the materials from NASA, and then we bring them here at school, where we process the books, like counting these papers. We use marble, we use also other crafts, and even we have those pencils which we use while making these books. We count them according to the size which you want to make. For example, the 96 or the 48, or even the counter books like these ones. So all of these materials are bought at that same place, and we process them from here at school with ourselves, the students. Many of the materials are bought at NASA, and even we also take them back for trimming, such that the final product looks like this. We've learned skills which we didn't know, like making these books ourselves, and even we sell them for a profit. Thank you.
That was the Iga Memorial School, where children were sharing what they do in their time of projects, and these ones were producing books using mathematics that they study in class. We also have another sharing. I actually want to inform you, friends, that one of the biggest issues that we have found when we move in schools is that we find there is no documentation of these projects, and it becomes a problem. And then the other one is that teachers fail to begin to do projects. And that's why this time we arranged this particular session for our teachers. And I want to share with you some few guiding questions that you can use to ask the students in order for you to start a project with them. Our role, remember, is not to do the project, is not to establish the project for the learners, but it is to guide the learners through questions in order to be able to pick the topic and so on. So here, one of them is that you can ask, what is the specific problem you have observed? If a kid comes to you and says, yes, master, I have my project. Yes, what is this? As the person puts the project or tells you the project, you ask, what is the problem that you have seen? Then secondly, you ask the learner to justify or to explain why you consider this issue being a significant problem. Why do you think it is a problem? Then the third question you can ask is, what are the potential negative impacts you anticipate if the problem is not addressed? Because some of them will tell you, I am doing filtration. What is the problem? Our community has no water. When you reach the community, there is national water flowing, there is a well flowing, there are boreholes and so on. And therefore, the person cannot defend that as being a community problem. The fourth question is, how would you address or solve the problem you have identified? So at this level, when a kid says this is a problem, you say, fine, how would you address it? At this level, you are trying to investigate, is this person really the owner of this problem? Is the person having prior information to handle this problem? Or the person has just collided with an issue of somebody and is presenting to you as a project? Fifth, you ask the person to list the resources or the support you would require to implement your solution. and then justify why each of the resources is necessary. Somebody, when we asked for the question, the examples of projects, actually Mr. Kizito gave an observation of the finances and resources, saying private schools are asking for money. This is where you confirm with the learner that yes, which materials, which resources will you require? You look through the resources and you see how visible are these resources. If a person has put a very expensive thing, then it is your role as a teacher to advise the right way to go. Our next thing is based on the problem or and the solution you have identified, propose a clear and concise title for the project. In most cases, children should not begin by giving you the title. You first investigate them, and then from the investigation, they will be able to produce a title. And it is your role as a teacher to guide them to make a title suitable for the project that will be handled by this learner. And then second last, you can go ahead and say, what do you aim to achieve and how will this help solve the problem identified? You are now looking at justification. How do you justify the solution you are putting ahead to solve the problem? And then lastly, what tangible output do we expect from you as evidence? Somebody will tell you, I did a project, but the product is not there. When we go into schools, we don't find these products. And at the end of it all, it means that we have not guided them properly because they cannot be able to have a tangible product. At the end of it all, it seems like it is not a project. Administrator, may we continue? So these are some of the guiding questions that are very critical for us when we are helping the learners to establish which project they have come up with or which problem they are to solve. Now, because of these questions above, you find that they will be able to help us to see a project plan of the learner. And in the project plan, by the time the learner addresses the question is mentioned above, the learner should be able to come up with the project title, the justification, the methodology and implementation strategy or procedure for each phase, and then the tools that are going to be used. Remember, we asked which materials will you need, and then the product and the rubrics. And then also we shall have the main subject and other integrated subjects. Remember, when you integrate, you interrogate the learner through this question is, you will be able to see the planning phase of this learner being achieved. Remember, once the planning phase is well done and achieved, the implementation phase has no big challenge. Just on the side there is a sample of one of the learners who did a project. I think that one you can read it through during your free time. Now, when you have this as a teacher, it means you have now aided your learner, you have guided your learner, he has established or he has established a problem and is able to do a project that will address the problem. Now, our part we look at now, after that project, what then next? You need to find a way how this project is going to be scored. At this level, friends, I want to share this with you, that when you are looking at a project, the scores of a project may not necessarily be according to the assumed position. It is you who will segment according to the guide that you have, and whatever you are going to obtain, you now bring it or you compute it to the level that is required for submission. Secondly, before I go through this scoring project work, you don't need to focus on UNEB as the only level that your project or that the learner's project is aiming at. No, our major aim should be children doing project work as a way of solving problems in the society. That is the inquiry method and then problem solving method. The moment we focus at UNEB, we shall lose a point. Yes, we know at the end of 4 years, we want children to pass, but our intention is not only to see children pass, is to see children come out as competent citizens that can serve this country better in terms of innovations, in terms of projects. So scores for each parameter will be determined by the teacher. The total score for the project will be scaled to 10%. And this is what is going to be presented at the end of it all. However, during the course of the project, you may score a project up to 57. You may score up to 100, depending on how you have apportioned the scores. But then when they want that particular project for submission, is when you shall scale it down. The second point we need to be mindful of is a learner should have a maximum of 2 projects every term, provided that the time the learner is going to sit in it has not reached. When we talk of projects, we need to segment our projects in schools, because we know that from senior 1 up to senior 2, we expect a learner to have done at least 12 projects. So as you begin the year, we can say term 1, what subjects are they going to do? You schedule, and eventually you are able to assess. Because you know at the end of it all, in senior 3 and 4, you will expect an integrated project having different aspects from different subjects. And then at this level now, when you do the first 12 in senior 1 and 2, they are like helping the learner to gain the skills in order to do an integrated project for end of cycle assessment. But through the school, you'll be doing continuous assessment with these projects. So the table on the side there is showing some of the aspects which are critical when we are considering scoring of a project. One, in planning phase, we have the title, we have the alignment to the theme. When you look at the title, you need to see that this title is aligned to the theme. Of course, as we speak now, the theme for this year is out by UNEP, but you need to see that what a learner is doing in senior 3 and 4 is aligned according to the theme that is required by UNEP. And then 3, justification. Remember, I was giving those questions for you to have a feel of how you are going to guide the learner through asking questions. Justification for the project, the methodology that the learner is going to use, and the identification of the materials and the budget that is going to be used. Friends, at planning phase is where you can tell whether this project is expensive or it is cheap or it does not require anything apart from locally available materials within the school. Our second phase is implementation, and that is 6, organization. And then we have use of resources. The resources mentioned in 5, how are they going to be used, and then how are we using them? Then expression of the critical thinking and problem solving skills at this level now. You are digging deep. You have done the investigation. You have done this. How are the results connecting with the problem that you have identified? Then expression of communication skills. When you ask questions, this person should be able to defend the decision is that he or she took. And then how do we cooperate? How do we work with other learners? Cooperation, and then sharing, teamwork, and so on. Friends, these are very critical conditions and levels. Then expression, how do you express the calculations and the ICT skills that you are integrating with your projects? Remember, we said which other subjects are going to assist you in addressing this. And then demonstration of the values in the project work that you are doing. Which values are we able to see at that level? Are these values making sense to you as a person when you get to the community, or you are just moving by doing academic work, you get divisions, good grades, but then at the end of it all, you are not a person who can live in the society. Then finally, we are looking at the product that you have. Is it original, or you have picked somebody's project? Friends, at this level, I have gone to some science fairs. You find somebody saying, yes, my project for science fair is making liquid soap, and the person has packed soap in the jerrycans and well labeled. But when you say, where are the materials, the raw materials that you use, they are not there. Where is the procedure? It is not there. How did you begin? What was the problem? It is not there. and eventually somebody expects you to award a score or a mark for that. Friends, we better adjust here. So we need to see originality of the product, creativity in what the person is making, and then innovation in what the project has, and then accuracy, how accurate are the materials. Sometimes, how have you measured? What are the ratios? And so on. These are some of the things we ask when we see projects coming up. And testing of the product, does it work or it does not work? Can it compete on the market or it cannot compete? And then effectiveness and efficiency of the learner's product in solving the problem. So somebody will have a problem, but the product produced cannot solve the problem. Is the project worth it? Is the innovation worth it? Considering those are some critical things we need to. Then lastly, you need to see this learner make a report as something which is going to be evidence for us to have for this learner whom we are scoring. And then I told you at the end of it all, you can score up to 57, up to 50, but when you want to convert to send the results, you will scale them down to 10%. May we move, admin? So now, looking at the score and the guiding question is, finally, what are the roles of the teacher? The major one is the holding conversation. Remember, those questions you can't ask unless you have time to converse with the learner. Two, you make observation. As the learner is telling you what he's doing, you need to observe and have a justification and take notes. As you are taking notes, you are doing formative assessment. Remember, we are saying we have both continuous assessment and end of cycle assessment. So throughout the project, you are assessing this person. Then provide guidance and support. I think I've already mentioned this. But also finally receive the product and the report. Because when we come, we say, okay, Geoffrey did a project on what? Where is the evidence? The report is here, the product is here. And then assess and score the learner, but also keep records of what projects learners have done. Friends, this is done continuously for the lifetime of a person or the lifetime of a project which the person has handled. Keep in touch. May we continue, admin? Yes. What are some of the benefits that we regard very critical to the teachers? Remember, when you do a project with the learners, you also benefit. One is professional and skills development opportunities. When you look at a project like you have seen in the universities, the supervisors who supervise us gain a lot of knowledge in terms of the projects that we write. And sometimes they even sell off these projects and they become their projects. After all, for you, you'll be doing to move to another level and you don't know where this project ends. Secondly, improve the student engagement and motivation. When you ask these learners, you engage them, you find that there is motivation for them. You gain control of the learners. You get to know the learners. And in the engagement, the products that they will have can be used. Like on the side here, we have these learners producing manure. This manure can be put in the gardens and it does improve the crops by supporting the growth and the development of these crops. Then we also have enhanced collaboration and teamwork among the teachers. Friends, we told you, we have said time and again, that don't do a project as an individual with learners. Engage others, collaborate with others. Language sometimes is a problem to scientists. You can have the English teacher say, please, this learner has written this literature review in this form. What is the right way? How can we help this learner get to know the correct thing? Sometimes our way of asking questions may become tricky for the learners to understand because we are too scientific. Involve a person who has done language to digest the language for the learner to get to know. And then lastly, opportunities for innovation and creativity in the teaching practice. When we give opportunity to these children to practice projects, to practice innovation, we shall have some innovative things coming up. And of course, when these ones are shared, like we see, we shall find that a teacher also gets a credit in as far as the class you are running is concerned. May you proceed, sir? Yes. Finally, I need to also have a feel from you. We have done projects in schools. Can we share very fast the challenges that we have faced in the previous year, so that we can add on what is here, and then we see how we can go about it when we are doing the implementation of this project. Moderator, back to you.
Thank you, sir. Members, we are being asked to share some of the challenges we faced. The floor is open. We can also use this time to react a little bit on some of the issues maybe you want to raise to the facilitator. This is the time. You're welcome. I am seeing, come on, Techno, come on, please. Techno, come on, 18, you're welcome. Techno, come on, unmute yourself and talk. Can you hear me?
Hello?
Yes,
I can
please.
hear you, madam.
Thank
you, madam.
You're called Techno,
Hello?
come on. So, I don't know if that is your name.
Thank you. No, I'm calling Yusuf, madam. I'm calling from Nakasongola at Mijera US Secondary School.
Thank you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, you're very
please,
clear.
we can hear you.
I would like to thank the moderator and the facilitator for the program which you have brought up. It is really so nice.
Thank you.
I would like to request, if possible, you can share this audio via the email we have sent you. I don't know whether it is possible or not. It is so educative that some of our teachers are not aware of what to do country-wide. Find people mixing up things. If possible, kindly share the audio and we.
Thank you.
Hello?
I think that one is a request.
Thank you. That request is understood, and I want to answer it immediately. After our presentations every Thursdays, we have always shared the copies, the soft copies of all the presentations on our different forums. I want to kindly request that we are active on those forums and we keep checking and using them. And those who do not know that to do that, you be the ambassador to tell them. All these are always loaded there. Thank you very much. May I request Okiror Julius? You're welcome. Unmute yourself. Mr. Okiror Julius. Hello, Mr. Okiror. Julius Okiror, can you hear us?
Thank you.
Welcome.
I'm here.
Okay,
Thank you very
welcome.
much, madam. I delayed to join you people. But I read somewhere that students must have done projects in all subject areas. I think including even the optional subjects. But now I thought the marks the scores which are supposed to be sent are those ones where you never send the theme. That is that is what I wanted you people to clarify.
Okay, please, thank you. The facilitator will respond to that. Thank you very much for that concern. May I request Okori Leonard, please, unmute yourself. Leonard Okori, can you hear me? Yes, Leonard Okori. Unmute yourself and ask or give us your concern. I think Leonard is not hearing us.
Hello.
Members, are this the only, hello?
Yes, thank you so much. I'm so glad to be in this meeting this evening. Now, the facilitator talked of the challenges. This one here being a new curriculum, It has really been new indeed, in that we got a lot of challenges in writing the report, in reporting. How I wish you people can organize maybe one day and you talk about reporting. How do we, what is the format of the report? Then secondly, he talked of, during his presentation, he talked about having the project in senior 1 and 2 and that it is supposed to be sent. For me, I used to know that the project that is done in senior 1 and 2 is majorly just for practice, preparing them to do now a well-integrated project in senior 3 and 4, and that the one for senior 1 and 2 is not needed. I don't know, maybe more light can be thrown onto that. Thank you so much.
Okay. Okay,
Thank you.
Thank you so much for those observations. Yeah, friends, I say that the major observed the challenge that he has raised is the reporting, and is requesting if the organization can organize and we have another time to look at reporting. I think, yes, they have had. Opsto administrator, please take note of that. And then the other thing is the senior 1 and 2. I said this one is supposed to be what? You said that it is supposed to be reported. No, I think I say that senior 1 and 2 are supposed to do 12 projects in the total, but these ones are intended to prepare the learner for the final project that will be done in senior 3 and 4 for submission. And you need also to score these projects so that they get to know how they are going to organize the projects in preparation for the future innovations and projects that are going to be submitted. We have a few of these challenges that are shared here. Admin, may you please run us through very fast? We seem to be having so many issues to address at the end of it all, because I have taken note of very many. Challenges, we have limited resources. You heard already somebody saying that some schools are asking for money. I don't think it is right to ask children for the money when they do, you even don't know the type of projects that they are going to do. Remember, in our task, in our sharing, we said you first ask which materials will you require. If a project needs 1 million shillings, you know that a parent may not be able to afford. Therefore, we avoid that and we encourage them to zero down to friendly, pocket-friendly projects, but if possible, using locally available materials. Then we also have infrastructure in some schools. Of course, some people are not mentioning this, that some schools have, children have products that they have produced, but don't even have where to store them. So they abandon them in the compound, and that is all. Then we have another issue of high student-teacher ratio. Of course, like somebody observed in private schools, they are saying group work and so on. But at the end of it all, group work will work in senior 1 and 2. When it comes to senior 3 and 4, we expect individual projects. Then limited teacher support. Friends, here we don't blame teachers. Like somebody has observed that teachers were not trained through this. It is a new curriculum. It is now demanding us to do. So teachers do not have enough skills to handle the projects. And that's why Opsto thought wise that we have this sharing so that you can have some of those questions that you can start with to help the learners identify the problems in the community. Then lack of teacher training, of course, CPDs are being done, but you will find that CPDs are basically done for science teachers and mathematics. Arts teachers are there, they are in schools, they need to help us, but they may not be empowered. And also some science teachers do not want to train because they want allowances first. At this moment, I want to ask everyone that let us do training, whether with or without the money, because the knowledge you are getting is the most important thing that you will have for the rest of your life. You are empowering your life, you are empowering yourself for the future preparation. Then limited access to technology. Some of us cannot even open a computer, cannot open a program on the computer, cannot even access a website. And therefore, it requires us to be empowered through trainings. I am happy USEP is training teachers on how they can integrate ICT. I hope anybody who gets a chance joins that. Then we have limited assessment options. Of course, our usual assessment has been an exam, we mark and we submit the results. We did not know even to do continuous assessment. When we talk of CAI, we talk of CAF, people do not understand these things. These animals are seen as very unique. It is high time that we have several options of assessing. Project work is assessment tool as well. Problem solving is an assessment mechanism. Inquiry is an assessment mechanism. You see which child has critical thinking, which child is innovative, which child has seen the problem in the statement that I've given. In the scenario I've given, which child is able to identify that this is a problem here. So limited assessment opportunities is a challenge for us. And then we have potential resistance to change. Some of us have become very rigid to accept that the competence-based curriculum has come, and therefore we must go the way it requires us to do. It is high time that we did change our minds. Administrator, can we run the next slide, strategies? I would wish to go through strategies very fast and I conclude. So strategies for implementing project work, friend. Our time is almost up, but let me just run through this. You start small. Do not say, I want a project.
Maybe, excuse me, Mr. Namisi.
Yes, madam.
We are going to add more minutes. You know, this is a very critical topic.
Thank you.
Don't worry about having been at 9 already. As long as you are comfortable, you can go. Thank you.
Thank you so much, moderator. So I'm looking at strategies and I'm saying, let us start small. You know, somebody would want to have a very magnificent project, and yet he does not have the skills of handling it. So you start small, start with a particular class, and then pilot it, and then try to see how the groups are catching up, how the learners are catching up. And then from there, you scale it up to other classes, and eventually the whole school gets the concept we're talking about. We also have a critical thing of collaboration. Do not work in isolation. Collaborate with the colleagues. If you see somebody doing a project in math and you are in physics, join. You may gain some skills there. And then eventually you use the same into physics, you use the same into ICT, and so on. And then you seek support from the administrator. Sometimes we want to run these projects as individuals. If you find that it is not very easy, involve the administrators. But do not promote, do not pass a project that will choke the administration in terms of funding. And then you begin to say, let us call the parents. Parents are not ready to listen, especially parents who are in schools which are funded by government. The third issue is, can we integrate subjects? Gone are the days of saying, me, I am physics and I am physics. No, you need other subjects. You need language. You need the Swahili. You can find a person whom you are engaging with and the person is not so fluent in English. You need to engage an additional language. If it is in Uganda, you must be there. So let us try to use integrated approach in terms of the subjects that we are going to talk about or that we talk about. Then emphasize student-centered learning and autonomy. Why projects are becoming a problem is that we want to do everything. You ask children a question, you give them a task, before they finish, you are rushing to give the response. When you do that, friends, projects will never come out because you give a task and you answer. Give a task and give them time and emphasize autonomy of the product that comes out. When a learner identifies a problem, give interrogative questions, and the questions should bring out what you want from the learner for this learner to develop the planning phase of the project and therefore innovation. Then identify and leverage the local resources and partnerships. Let us not encourage buying materials from outside. In the locality, do we have what we can start with? Yes. If we can start, then we move. But if we cannot, it means that we may not be able to move. Because if resources are not available, then a project is not worth taking it up. But also we should have partnership. If you have a project in biology and it requires a chemical in physics, in chemistry. Get in partnership with chemistry department, you work together, that chemical is provided and you do. If some operators are in physics and yet the project is in ICT, get in touch with physics department and work together. Then the other point is participate in projects, exhibitions, and science fairs. Friends, these opportunities are given. Every year, we encourage schools to do projects. Some of us have deliberately refused. I want to encourage you. You may not be able to organize a project, even one science fair exhibition, because you never did any. But by attending other people's exhibitions, you learn what you can do and eventually encourage your learners to do. And at this level, I want to encourage you that CESMAT is going to organize a national science fair, but we begin with the regions. So all regions in Uganda, 27 of them will prepare their schools. We have seen schools participating every year, and other schools are silent. And we keep wondering, do we have scientists in those schools or we don't have them? Friends, this one is a very critical thing. I want to even inform you that as we speak now, the president wants 7,500 innovations from us as scientists. And where is that coming from? It is the steering of our country for development. He has given us what we requested through OPSTO. Bravo to the organization. But now what are we doing? Can we also fulfill his dream as the president of the Republic of Uganda, so that at the end of it all, we shall all shine? Lastly, record projects in terms of the voice, in terms of the videos for the future reference, and publicize them. Friends, through YouTube, you can attach these projects and they will be able to be seen by others, and others will learn through them. Here we have a school that does that. Whatever innovations they come up with, they put it up, and that is Gayaza High School. We have what is shared there by administrator. Please get time, look at those innovations. Get time and read. Get time and use ChatGPT. Get time and use AI. These are some things that can help us to empower ourselves. Let us not sit and say, I never went through that, therefore I will not do it. CBC is a must. CBC is in A level. CBC has taken the whole world. Finally, as we conclude, friends, I want to say that project-based learning is an innovative way of modern educational practices. It is just not for assessment purpose, but it is a modern educational practice which is within class and outside class. Through these projects that we give the children, they can be able to have business outside school when they qualify. You saw these girls of Iga Memorial trying to do books. Tomorrow you are going to find them on Nasa Road doing those books in their vacation, and they earn something. So students are supposed to work on a particular project for a specific time in which he improves the partnership between teachers and parents. When a learner does a project and this project attracts the parents will pick interest because it is solving a real life, a real problem in society. This will actually, in a way, improve our relationship with parents. Some of us, we are only heard by parents when children say, oh, that man, when you go late, is the best one in caning. In school, this one. But we also need to hear that this innovation, my daddy, I tell you, if it was not for Mr. So, I think I would have not gotten a breakthrough. It was Mr. So and so who guided me to get a breakthrough through in this innovation. And eventually, we shall be connected to the Ministry of Science and Technology, and eventually, the president will be seeing the relevance of what we are doing. CBC projects are a must. They have come to stay. Remember, I told you about A-level curriculum. Yes, it has come to stay. Those who were saying, me, I don't teach O-level, I teach A-level. It is as if you were born to teach A-level. Now it has come in A level. It is high time you prepare so that we are able to teach these children project work in order to innovate, in order to be creative for the country to benefit from the scientists that we are having. A level, we know it is about methodology that we are going to use, but later when NCDC is done with its paperwork and what they are doing, they may reduce the content, but remember, it is basically methodology. The same thing with O level. Chemistry never changed, biology never changed, but the way how we are teaching is what makes a difference in our way of helping the learners to become 21st century learners. Lastly, friends, I want to say that finally, we have industrial parks which are developed, which are coming up. In every region, Mbale we have, Lira we have, Mbarara we have. Everywhere where there's a city, we have an industrial park. The question is, the president has this dream, but where are the people innovative to fill these industrial parks? If we don't do it, then we shall continue complaining Chinese have taken jobs and so on. Friends, at this moment, I wish to thank you all for being good listeners and for contributing. I remain Geoffrey Namisi, the speaker of this evening, for God and my country. Shalom.
Shalom, shalom, Geoffrey. Thank you for accepting to come. Thank you for making this evening an evening where people don't want to leave the stage. So many questions are coming. Go on. I got so delighted this evening, keeping everybody here. Someone has sent here, who is this teacher, William, is saying to the admin and facilitator, requests and further guidance on project management and scoring, reporting. Please request facilitator to members through all stages involved in project work. Also, what you never expect schools to keep for projects, and I rest my case. So many thank you. I'm grateful. Others are saying they still have more questions. And Geoffrey, I wanted to kindly request you, I give them 5 minutes for those ones with burning issues that can help maybe guide other members on this project work.
Yes.
And I can give them this time, 5 minutes, if there is concern. Please, members, you can raise up your hand and we see. As we wait for them to raise up, there was one reporting for senior 1, 3, and 4. Okay, and maybe you reject something.
Yes, as we maybe network, Madam Moderator.
Yes, Geoffrey.
Yes, as they are chatting or writing their concerns, maybe I can go through some of these which were mentioned.
Yes, yes.
Yes, like for instance, somebody mentioned senior 1 and senior 2. We said that senior 1 and senior 2 will be doing simple routine projects. And the purpose is to train them to get to know how a project is done.
Yes.
And then the other thing which is critical there is that group work is allowed, individual is allowed. So they can even use experimental procedures as long as they can improve them. So that is a simple routine, senior 1 and 2. Senior 3 and 4, it is a single integrated project, having all other subjects supporting one project for submission to UNEP. That is one issue.
By individual learner, right?
Yes, please.
Senior 3, senior 4, individually done.
Senior 3 and senior 4, individually done. And this one is the non-simple routine. You don't pick a procedure from a textbook and you say, I have done my project. No, you identify a problem from the society. You can use some of those procedures to guide you to develop what you want, and eventually you solve the problem. So it is individual and it is for scoring for UNEB purposes. The other person.
Thank you, Geoffrey.
Yes, please.
I wanted to add that the senior 1, senior 2 project work is to help learners keep practicing, which is not exclusive of reporting formats. Meaning that in
Yes.
senior 1 and senior 2, you should be helping them to practice how to report on what? On a project, so that by senior 3, senior 4, they now know the procedures of reporting. I hope
Thank you
it's
so much,
correct
moderator, for that clarification. Then the other one was money paid in private schools. I think government does not allow that. And then two, you can't ask children to pay money when you don't know which project they are going to do.
Network. Hello?
Oh yes, I had gone off. The other one, which is so burning, is the theme for senior 3 and now senior 4 this year. It was given and it is skills and innovation for sustain.
In fact, network is disturbing. Don't know how we end. Hello? Network.
Yeah.
Hello?
Hello.
My network is disturbing so much, I don't know. And now I can see members have reduced to only 50. Hello?
Hello.
Yes, please.
I'm inquiring, when are the students supposed to hand in this project?
To have the project?
To hand in the project.
Yeah.
Senior 4.
Now, senior 4, now you have to keep active on the net portal. That is going to be before May, I think. Before May, but I like UNEP because it keeps communicating every time. So the person at school who handles UNEP issues should be ready to update you people.
Okay, thank you.
Can I have Shirley? Shirley, you have been having your hand up. Again, I've lost you. Zaramba Deo, please unmute yourself and say it. Zaramba Deo. Yes, you're welcome.
Good evening, madam.
Good evening to you, dear.
How are you, Madam Betty?
I'm okay.
Mine is do you mean we are not supposed to seek for financial support from the administration as far as the projects is concerned?
Okay, thank you. Thank you for the question. Is that done? Are you done?
I'm done.
Okay, thank you. You'll be answered. Mr. Namisi, are you still on? Hello? Hello? Have they lost Mr. Namisi now? When you hear, to give an answer to that, when you hear we talk about low-cost materials, the learners are supposed to come up with the projects that are that can use maybe local available material, but sometimes you'd find that the nature of the projects these learners come with, some of them are so complex, not only complex, they're very good on market. And somewhat it would need a lot of money by administration. I would give an example. My school, Komboni College, the learners came up with a solar concentrator. It was not as cheap as 1.5 million to buy the materials and put into use, so many things. So it depends on what the learners come up with. But you know that the government is also against schools asking parents to pay for projects. That means that now it is I would say it is a mutual understanding between the teacher and the learner to see how they can put things on board, but also not completely shying away from reaching administration if they can support and it's a good material. That is it. So you see here, there is no definite answer because there are schools that cannot afford to support some of these projects. So it is upon us also, the teachers, not to guide the learners to see what they can come up with. There's a question here saying, when is the training on the A-level curriculum taking place? I think I would kindly request that you stay on and wait. National Curriculum Development Center is ready to roll out the A-level program. They're also ready now to start the trainings, but the when is what I cannot answer, okay? I think members, I don't see any hand now coming up. That means that we already have exhausted some of the challenges we have. I have lost my facilitator. I think it is network issue. I don't see him anymore. And the house has reduced to only 40. Hello, can members hear me? Hello.
We can hear you, Betty.
May I take this opportunity to thank all of you for having participated in today's discussion. I know it has been a Mr. Kizito. Hello?
Yes, please.
So I was saying I want to thank all of you for having participated in this program. Yes, please.
Thank you.
I was already winding up, sir.
Yeah, you wind up. I have no issues to raise.
Members are already falling out because of what? So I was saying I want to thank everybody for having participated in this program today. It has been a very fruitful discussion. You would realize that we are moving on and in the right direction. Members, the program was intended because we are preparing for science. We have different competitions being organized. SESEMAT is going to have its science fair as immediately the school starts. Uganda Professional Science Teachers Union already have a comprehensive program that is going to have competitions on science and innovation in all the regions. So I would kindly request that as this training goes on, it should keep preparing us to bring on board quality innovations that is going to showcase why we, the science teachers, are there and what we are really doing in class. Reminding you that we have Science in Action program. Science in Action program is also a serious project we have, and that is why you are seeing some of the screenshots coming from Samiga, Gayaza High School. These are schools that are having their innovations, and they have called on to Uganda Professional Science Teachers Union to reach their schools to cover what they are doing. So you down there in your different schools, you could also be doing something very wonderful. Help us to know that you're there and you're doing something so that we come there. We want to expose some of these innovations we do, and that is when some of us can also learn from it and we move on. Next week, we are going to have another serious program, and I would like to request that we be there and we take part in these discussions. The program is for continuous professional development for Uganda Professional Science Teachers Union members. So don't miss it. You will regret it tomorrow. I thank you very much. I thank my Lord for having granted us this time and kept us up to this time. Everybody have a good stay and good night. Thank you very much.